Waparazzi on wapTV.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I think how you produce local content, content that is heavily locally nuanced with universal appeal, is to ensure that the basic production standards along universal lines are met. First off, content must mirror society. So in an attempt to ensure that what you're producing is local, you cannot misrepresent society. What you have, especially in urbanized parts of the country, is that people communicate mostly in English. But the fact that English is the medium of communication doesn't mean that the culture cannot be heavy in what you're producing. And specifically, what is expected is that whether it's coming out of Mexico, coming out of the United States, coming out of Nigeria, that it fulfills certain minimum production values. It meets certain minimum production standards in terms of the technical side of it, the quality of the production, generally speaking. So you can't get away with mediocrity in the name of producing local content. Yes, the content is local, but the quality of it has to be global, has to be universally acceptable, and that's basically easy for me.
How do you strike a balance between remaining culturally authentic in your productions and also having universal appeal?
For Nigerian film, for production, we have three basic classes of audience. We have the people who are African Nigerians who are in diaspora. We have Nigerians, the local Nigerians, and we have other people who watch our film. Like this period, you hear of the film Black Book that's making so much noise all over. You see that the people from Korea watching that film a lot. You know, so when you identify your audience, they cannot make production for them. So coming back to local parlance and culture, for me, I'm from Warri, right? So most South Africans know I do a lot of films that have plenty of pidgin English, right? But it don't stop there. I also put in meals. You know, sometimes you see people who are maybe in the village and all that. What they put on their food is jollof rice and chicken. When we have a wedu, we have stuff like we have local food that we can put there. Even our dressings in our movies, you see that people are wearing foreign clothes when they are doing films that are supposed to be homegrown or meant for the international market. And so for me, we should put in all these ingredients and mix up that we can relate to as a people. Then we can now export it to people out there, because you cannot do more than what they like you cannot speak the better English than the Englishman, right? You cannot do an American film more than the Americans. So what we need to do, since we own it, we have a lot of things that we can export, why don't we consolidate on those ones and send to them? So for me, I think we should consolidate more on what we have, the advantage that we have, then push it out to them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Wale Adenuga of Wale Adenuga Productions. Over the years, you've come up with a lot of content that have resonated with many of us. You know, we grew up watching Super Story, you know, Boy Alenko and the rest. And there's no doubt that your productions have been successful locally. But that was then. Now, it is much easier to export your content, to expose your content to other parts of the world. Are there things you've done? Are there changes you've made to make your content go further?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, over the years, like you said, times have changed, and viewing culture has also changed. So in creating content, we are putting to mind different platforms that people view content from, and of course use that to adjust probably maybe even up to the duration of the content you are creating. Since you know you're now speaking to like a global audience and stuff, you want to be more professional with your subtitling, dubbing and other things, just to make sure that as many people can understand you. And I think research too. Over time, we also look at what other people are doing on different platforms and try and invite them into the content that we are creating. So yeah, times change and the ways of man must change. So I think we have been paying very good attention, and yeah, that's it basically.
Thank you very much. So we are here to talk about convergence of media and data. What does a win-win look like? How is data the biggest issue, the biggest fuel that can push content or that can make content the reality that it should be?
There are primarily three core stakeholders in this conversation. There's the producer of the content, there is the consumer of that content, and there's the clients that will pay good money for that content, and by extension, agency people like myself that work for these clients. Now, for the producers and for a lot of you in the room, data not only helps you know who your audiences are, but it helps you determine the type of content that they love to watch. So the first thing for the producer obviously is, once you have the data, you're able to define your audience properly, you're able to refine the content to show more of what people want to watch. And of course, the benefit for the consumer is that he gets the kind of content he likes. Not just how many people watch your program, but the demographic of those people that watch your program. And that is what platforms like, but there's a very popular reality show on DSTV that has been able to use data to market the show and has been able to tie a link between viewership and direct KPIs for the client.
How is the data issue affecting how you get your content funded and the platforms that you can put your content in for people to consume it?
For a content producer, this is my own insight, and this is what we've done consistently over the years, is that we understand the power of content in creating viewership. So when we understand that we have these broadcast platforms around the country, let's start with that. Let's say in a city like Lagos State right now, we have these ABC TV stations. And we understand that when you have the right content on that platform, it will drive viewership. And if that content is very good, then you can drive the viewership. So we invest in creating content that will drive viewership. And our target has also been very simple. Number one, we said in the last session, is to keep it simple. We make sure that our contents are very simple. Number two, they have humor, a large dose of humor. Nigerians are stressed, tired, and everything. You just want to come home and relax. And lastly is that we keep it family, because the core family is very critical. So something that can go through demographics and keep them staying there. So that gives us pointer to where to put our content. Back to the first one, also is like a system, right? And which he mentioned earlier on is that it's a win-win situation for everybody. That the agencies are able to get their audience, the clients are able to get the audience, and we get some money to also keep producing the content. It's a tough space, but trust me, something that we enjoy doing.
Okay, that's why you're still doing it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Theo, the concept of data that we are currently talking about, which is getting the right data, i.e. being able to measure who's watching what, where, and how. How is that playing into what your members are telling you? What are the challenges that are play right now from your perspective?
The new media, provides views, numbers of views within a period of time. Traditional broadcast media seems to have lagged behind in this area. They are doing that because a lot of broadcasters are still operating the analog system. If we had moved onto the digital switch over, then technology could be applied, and you are therefore able to see how many people tuned in. And because of the lateness of Nigeria in switching over, the traditional broadcast media doesn't have data. Everything is guesswork, and all of the historical systems, processes of trying to even measure viewership seems to have been eroded because audiences are very jumpy at this point, and you won't even know where you find them. I think that even the traditional media broadcasters have also further shot themselves in the foot by providing their broadcast on the new media just as they have it on the traditional platform.
Yeah, but that's what I was going to say to you. If you put a program, if you put a content on YouTube and it's grossing 15 million views per month, doesn't that tell you that on the traditional media should be grossing 3 times that?
Or is that not a guide? Well, it's not such a guide. You know why? Because if I know that a channel is streaming live and the content that I should see at 2 o'clock can still be available at another time, there's a possibility of procrastinating or trying to see it at another time, and every advertiser that was on it will not hit me. So this is something we need to look at. Should we continue to stream the TV now that we have YouTube, Facebook? Should we stream a traditional TV fully as you have, or you should have delayed material so that people still hungry to see you real time when you broadcast? There is a way these two can work together, and there's a way we can have a 50-50 situation.
How is data situation from the consumer point of view and from your point of view affecting your business, and what are those things that you think we can take from there?
For the Nigerian market, for the African market, because at that time, the Nollywood was blowing up. So we focus more on quality content to our viewers, and of course we also partner with other production companies. I think we work with Bukakidele, EY, to give us quality content to drive the viewership. Now, because I was handling all local content here in Nigeria, we also have the other market for the international content, which of course is history. And again, we are not just focused only on Nigeria. This same content also goes to West Africa. So we discovered from our understanding that yes, people love the Nigerian content, Nigerian market, so we focus more on that, while the international guys and the international, the Hollywood ones.
By now you understand what the concept of win-win look alike, especially when it comes to the convergence of media and data or data, depending on how you look at it. Thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate it. And that's the end of the panel.
I like to always show every aspect of my culture. For culture is life, and anyone who do not celebrate and showcase his own culture is someone who is not proud of who he is and who they are. And the world is fighting a war of culture. So culture is economy, economy is culture. If you can live and promote your culture, you will cut down on what you import, because you will be able to find within your culture all you need, and you will fashion your life around your culture and save yourself the dependent on foreign cultures in terms of food, clothing, and housing, and all the things that we do. So I like to promote every aspect of my culture.
We should go back to the roots. A lot of Yoruba people that cannot speak their language, and that one baffles me a lot. And Yoruba people, they are falsifying our language, which is not supposed to be. We should teach our children how to speak and hear Yoruba, even to the extent of teaching them the proverbs, because the proverbs goes to the root of our language, and it gives them inner nature and the depth of the language.
As a content producer, you know what you want. You must have a concept, which aspect of the culture you want to show. We have varieties of positive things to show to the world. We have a lot to showcase. Our food, our mode of dressing, our other ways of life are just too numerous to mention. So, but you can't get it alone. The other stakeholders in the broadcast industry to now put to the world what Africa is all about.